Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. Now in this lecture we are going to dissect very interesting perspective behind the formation of the present day Pakistan. So the topic is about seeing Pakistan for what it is. So what we will be discussing in this are the various theories that are present with respect to why the demand for Pakistan was ever made in the first place. And we'll dissect with respect to what the present situation is, right? What its army chief, what Pakistan's behavior is in the present day, and compare it to why it would have been then established in 1947, or why the demand for separate Pakistan was being made. So we'll try to see Pakistan for what it actually is and not what it projects or people think of it. So let's get started with this very interesting lecture. So why is this in discussion? Because of the recent comments that have been made by the Army Chief General Asim Munir of Pakistan. So there are certain statements that he had made, very provocative statement. You can in fact say that there are hate speeches as well. For example, his statement saying that we are different from the Hindus. So that was a statement against India which he had made, a very provocative, and now he made that statement just few days before the Pahalgam terrorist attack, making it ever more serious and indicating probably there could have been involvement of Pakistan's military as well in this Pahalgam terrorist attack. However, let's focus on one more thing that he has mentioned about the partition or the formation of Pakistan. So he also made a statement with respect to the partition and the creation of Pakistan. So what did he say is that our countrymen should not forget that Pakistan is the only second state to be established based on the kalima. So what is this kalima that he is talking about? He is talking about the kalma which is present in Islam, which basically, if someone believes in that kalma, is said to be becoming a Muslim. So the kalma talks about the faith in one God and Prophet Muhammad being the messenger of that God. So anyone who believes in that is considered to be a Muslim. So he's talking about the state of Pakistan actually being established based on the kalima. That means based on the religion. So it's a religious state, and it is only the second. So which one is the first? He says that the only other being the Medina, which is there, which was formed or established by Prophet Muhammad over 1300 years back. That means what? It is not just for Pakistanis, but for all the Muslims of the world is what he is claiming over here. So now we'll dissect whether that was the reason to claim or to demand for a separate Pakistan, or where the reason something else. Let's see and let's dissect that particular issue. So we now will discuss about the two-nation theory. So when Pakistan got established out of India, right? It was formed out of India. It's not a separate state. It came out of India. So of course there was a demand for separate Pakistan. So there was a two-nation theory that was propounded. There were many followers or believers of the two-nation theory. All India Muslim League being one of them. So what All India Muslim League demanded is a separate nation for the Muslims, and it came later to be known as Pakistan. Now there are various reasons given as to why Muhammad Ali Jinnah or All India Muslim League wanted a separate nation. Many said that they actually did not want a separate nation. They said they just wanted to leverage this demand in order to get more autonomy for the Muslims, more benefits for the Muslims, even reservations from the Muslim on the basis of religion. That is what they wanted. So this is one theory that actually floats and is believed by many. However, this article talks about that was never the case. Leveraging the demand of Pakistan to get better benefits for the Muslims was never the case. So then what was the case? Let's see as we move ahead that what was the case to demand for a separate nation for the Muslims. So reason behind the existence of present day Pakistan. Let us now understand the real reason that could be behind the existence. So the real reason could be that Pakistan was not envisaged just as a refuge for the Muslims of India or the then Indian subcontinent, but rather a harbinger of all the Muslims around the world. Now, why is that so? See, before the existence of Pakistan, there was a caliphate, the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish Empire, the caliphate of the Muslims. So what is the caliphate of the Muslims? Basically, the region of the Muslims wherein the Muslims are predominant, the community of Muslims are residing. However, that particular caliphate had a downfall, and it simply got fragmented into small pieces, and no such Muslim caliphate then existed. So what Pakistan actually wanted to do is to form a caliphate or a region which will be a harbinger of Islam and its rise and its renewal through Pakistan. So that is exactly what it wanted to create, not just for the Muslim refugees or the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent, but of the entire world. It wanted to become the leader of all the Muslims everywhere in the world is what was envisaged. Now, who were the proponents or the supporters of the two-nation theory? We'll see that, and we'll also see the different reasons for that. So we have Dr. Ambedkar's take on two-nation theory. He was in its favor because he said that keeping them intact together would not be beneficial for us, for our economy, and it will be sort of a burden to have the entire population clubbed together. So it is good if they want to separate, they can go ahead and separate, which was probably the right thing, as we can see with respect to what the situation of Pakistan is presently. Now, what was the Muslim League's perspective of the demand for a separate nation? The perspective was, they highlighted the map, saying that if we get this region separate as Pakistan, of course at that time it was East Pakistan, West Pakistan, so the present day Pakistan was at that time the West Pakistan, the East Pakistan is basically the present day Bangladesh. So if you talk about specifically the then West Pakistan or the present day Pakistan, its map was contiguous. It was contiguous with other Muslim countries, so there will be a huge amount of support from these countries. At the same time, the entire concept of having a Muslim caliphate can then be actually realized because you have a continuum of Muslim population next to the present day Pakistan region. So that was one important thing. In addition to that, natural resources, infrastructure assets, strategic location. In fact, later on in 1948, they also annexed the present day Balochistan. They annexed that, which presently forms 44% of Pakistan's territory and has majority of its mineral resources, gold resources, gas, oil, etc. All the resources majorly are concentrated in Balochistan, which Pakistan, mind you, did not get it with consensus, but rather annexed that region and made forcibly its part. Right? So this was the entire idea, to have a separate nation. At the same time, one more thing solidifies this reasoning is the hostage population theory of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So what is this hostage population theory? See, when the partition took place, so a lot of people found themselves in the country they don't want to be. For example, a lot of people who were in the present day Pakistan at that time wanted to come back to India. And a lot of people in India wanted to go to Pakistan because of various reasons, right? So, because they might be wanting to live in Pakistan, right? Many people wanted to stay back. So many Muslims wanted to stay back in India. Many Hindus and Sikhs wanted to stay back in Pakistan. But some might be forced to stay back here because they could not go. And some might be forced to stay back in Pakistan because they could not come to India. So there are a lot of kinds of perspectives and people who went to the opposite nation and who stayed in the nations, right? So the concept of hostage population theory was, at the time of partition, when partition happened, the transfer of refugees and people took place. After it settled down, what was the situation? India consisted of course, majorly Hindus, but also Muslims were present in India. At the same time, in Pakistan, it consisted majorly of Muslims, but even Hindus, Sikhs, and Christians were present in Pakistan. So this hostage theory of Jinnah said that we have some amount of minority, the Hindus, the Sikhs, the Christians, and if India does not treat the Indian Muslims properly, we will exploit, harass, and cause problems to the minorities living in Pakistan. So that was his hostage theory, trying to leverage the minorities of Pakistan to ensure a better treatment for the Muslims in India. Now, will that actually be the case? Do they actually care about the Indian Muslims? No, this is just a ploy or a leverage or a reasoning that they are giving themselves to justify the harassment and justify the atrocities that they have carried out since time immemorial, since their independent state was formed up to the present day. So this is the justification that they give or have given through the hostage population theory which Muhammad Ali Jinnah believed in. Now, what is the principles of formation of the global ummah? So the global ummah, what is the concept of global ummah? What does the concept of ummah in Islam means? Ummah means the basically group of people. Now here, since we are talking about the Islamic ummah, we are talking about the people or the population that believes in Islam. So there is a kind of belief that we need to unite all the Muslims throughout the world, unite them in one. And a pain of one Muslim country or a group of population in one part of the world should be treated as pain of the entire Muslim community throughout the world. That is the concept of ummah. And it is also seen that they wanted to unite all the Muslims throughout the world, and there were certain steps were also taken with respect to combining them, removing other discrimination based on caste and race. Yes, the caste and race kind of system exists even in Islam. So the naming over here is different, the sections are differently named, but the same kind of discrimination exists in Islam as well. There are people who are considered at a higher level and certain sections of Muslims considered at a lower level. So they wanted to remove that in order to unite the entire population of Muslims. However, having said that, it is just done in order to gain more and more power, but not in reality to actually care for the people. So instead of actually helping the cause of the Muslims, they are rather hampering the cause of Muslims. So in India, probably Muslims are more safe in India than they would be in Pakistan. So what should rather be done is take care of your own nation, your own people, and even your minorities. That is what Pakistan should be doing, rather than poking their nose in other countries' business, especially when it is doing way better than what they could ever achieve. So this is the ideology behind the formation of present-day Pakistan, not just leveraging its demand for better things or provisions for the Muslims, but having a vision to form the entire caliphate and unite all the Muslims. So its entire basis or fundamentals of establishment of Pakistan was what? Was religion, and simply religion. And that is why it is going to create religious divide. It is going to hamper or harass or carry out atrocities against the minorities, and for that it needs to be called out and it needs to be punished, and the entire world needs to ensure that Pakistan gets back to, not back because it was never, but the entire world now needs to ensure that the atrocities that the Pakistan has been doing and the terrorist facilitation etc. stops once and for all. Thank you.